thank you for all of those people that have decided to come and join me in the free group that I started yesterday, based more around Seneca Performance, which is about optimizing our lives as best we can to move towards being just a little bit better on a daily basis. So it's a mixture of all the best learning and ideas that I've picked up along the way, just to try and, ideally, originally it was for office athletes, professionals, but I've just broadened that out in the current climate just to include everyone, because in my opinion, as I discussed yesterday, we are all athletes and our goals and dreams are just as important, if not more important, than those people trying to win gold or win the Premiership. That's the sort of underlying theme behind the free group. So if you want to train with me at any point and you want to come into a community so you can have your say and we can build something together, I've put a link in Facebook. You just click that link and come and join up. Or if you're on Instagram, I'll put a link in the bio. It's not in there yet. Or you can just go to Seneca Performance, SENECA performance.com, and there's an option just to join the free group. And it's cool. And it's fab, right? And I love all this stuff, right? Because it's a group of people coming together to be a little bit better. And we're all on a shared mission, right? Just to make this short and precious life as vibrant and energized and meaningful as possible. That's the mission. Anyway, park the advert for the moment, but it's topical because obviously there's a lot of people just joined into that group yesterday. But this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about this yesterday, and I posted this into our group this morning, if you've had a chance to go in there, about Andrea Bocelli's free live concert. Now, it's not something that I would normally have watched, but my wife Tara had it all set up. It was like, we're watching this, we had YouTube on the big telly, we had the decent surround sound kicked in, and we sat there and watched what was probably only about 10 minutes, I think, about 10 or 15 minutes of Andrea Bocelli just singing, right? And it was like eerily powerful just to see like this wonderful man singing so beautifully, and it was just empty. It was just like, there was something really powerful about it. I can't quite explain. And a part of, and if you haven't seen it, by the way, please go and check it out. It's amazing. But part of that the repertoire of songs was Amazing Grace, which is a song that obviously we've all heard, right? We've all heard Amazing Grace at some point in our lives, right? And I've never really connected with the words. But there was something about yesterday where I just really honed in on like that first verse, right? Amazing Grace, how sweet thou art, that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. I mean, how just powerful is that? I almost just like knock my socks off whilst watching it. Again, I've heard that song a million times, and that's what's really interesting about lyrics, about poems, if you're into that stuff, about books, about music, is that at certain points in your life when you just come across the right lyric or tune or verse or word, it can just like open up a whole new level of thinking. And it was sort of that experience for me last night around that Amazing Grace. I was once lost and now I'm found. I just thought that's so powerful. Like, how many people feel a little bit like that, a little bit lost at the moment? I was lost for years and years and years, and I know from speaking to many of you guys that lots of us lose our way over time. And I think there's a lot of people right now a bit lost for meaning, lost for purpose. Everything that's happening around them in the world at the moment might be a little catalyst to start thinking a bit differently. And when we start to think a bit differently, we start to ask those big questions, which often result in us feeling even more lost, such as, what's it all about? You know, why am I in this job? What am I doing this for? Right? Those big questions that very often we just sort of hide away. Maybe I think what's happening over this period, that they're starting to bubble up, those big questions. And I love those big questions, right? Don't run from those big questions, because often there's real sort of power in there when you start to try and play around with your meaning and purpose. And here's the thing. I mean, this is a massive subject, by the way, so I'm just going to dip my toe into it today. The whole meaning and purpose thing, right? Because it's certainly something that you can't just get overnight or with a couple of red pens and a flip chart. It doesn't work like that. But I think you grow your meaning and purpose over time. But I think a start of that adventure, that call to adventure, is when you feel a bit lost. There's a sense of, because you have to feel lost to find something, if you know what I mean. I think so many people just get stuck in like a middle lane malaise of life that they don't really ever give themselves the opportunity or the space to ask those big questions. Or if they start to bubble up, they push them down and they just stay stuck and unhappy and unfulfilled and unmotivated and just a bit meh, just a bit 5 out of 10. Whereas I think often, and I spoke about this a lot, you need a fall, you need a bump to allow you to think a bit differently, to look at this world a bit differently and be open to new ideas. And you need to get a bit lost, right? And we get lost when we fall. In a metaphorical sense, we do. And that certainly happened to me 10 years ago, and I know it's happened to many gasquillions of people that I've bumped into since that have had relationships with alcohol, or relationships fallen apart, or they've had bereavement, or they've had job loss. Like all of this cauldron of change is happening right now, and it's been magnified by the situation that we're in. And I think there's going to be a lot of people going through this sort of slightly lost period, but there is an opportunity to be found, to find something, to find momentum, to find meaning and purpose out the other side of this, right? And that's the sort of little adventure that I'm on. And those lyrics last night were just unbelievably powerful for me. I was lost, but now I'm found, right? There's a real sense of that. And I think even anyone having the courage to bother to listen to me bang on a daily basis about all this sort of stuff says that you are on the right track, right? We're seekers, we're looking for something, right? There's something more. We've just got a little sense of it, a feeling, like a little taste of, do you know what? I think this life is a bit bigger than the current path that I was on. And again, very often that comes after a bit of a slip, a bit of a stumble. It doesn't have to be some big horrible rock bottom, although that does produce similar effects. It can just be a bit of a stumble. It just could be the situation that's happening right now, and it gives us this opportunity to think anew, right? And that's the mission that I'm on. This is why I've set up this free group, to bring people in and just to share a bit more of this stuff, right? Because we're all on this adventure together. Anyway, to come back to the point. So after listening to a bit of Andrea and Amazing Grace, I was really like filled with this pull, desire to go for a long walk. Like if I've got stuff in my mind or something big's going on, I need to move. I need to move my body. And anyway, so I left the house last night at whatever time it was, 8 o'clock, and just started walking. And I thought, right, I'm going to listen to that song. It's so powerful. And I couldn't really find it. I couldn't find Andrea's version, but I found Aretha Franklin's version, like gospel version of Amazing Grace. So I had that on the earphones. Bearing in mind now, I'm walking around, you know, I'm fortunate to be in a nice surroundings in many ways, and there was no one about. No one. No cars, no people, just me and the music moving. And honestly, it was one of those moments. It's happened to me a few times before. There was something big going on. I can't quite put my fingers on it, but listening to Aretha Franklin and that gospel choir, and her singing of Amazing Grace, and the lyrics, and the eerily situation that I was in, because no one was around. Like, when does that ever happen? No cars, no, like walking the streets in the middle of the road, nothing, no one. And this music, like, that I'd really connected with already, it was just something bigger than oneself was going on right there. It was like this sort of transcendent experience, for want of a better word, right? And it was so powerful, right? And it's happened to me before, almost exactly a year ago, and I'll tell you exactly how it happened to me before. I was in Thorndon, my favourite place in the world, and it was the first sunny day of the year. So it was around the end of April, early May, and I walked into a little meadow, which is a little secret bit of Thorndon that no one really knows about, and the sun was beating on my back. You could see everything was starting to come up into bloom. Same thing, like this sort of just big, you can't explain it, right, unless you've been there. I'm sure many of you have had a little inkling of this before or experienced something similar. It feels transcendent. Something bigger is at play in this world. And I had one of those last night, and it's unbelievable when it happens. So I just wanted to share it, right? And again, I'm not articulating it very well, and I'm not making sort of sense of it all particularly, but just to share with you, I think, the power of lyrics and words and moments that you... Oh, hold on. I'm just going to keep going on this one. For some reason, it's kicked me out of the Facebooker. Are they on? Oh, it kicked me out. Oh, no. So, this is what went on, right? I'm just going to... Hold on. I just want to quickly get this right. Tara, are they all on the Wi-Fi? Yeah, I don't know, it's just gone. Anyway, I'll have to come back to the Instagrams. So, this is the scoop, and I put this on the group this morning. Tonight, if you get an opportunity, like, head out with some really powerful music on, something that moves you. We've all got this type of music that like really moves us, that whatever it is, lyrically or just the sound, the beat, whatever it is, and go for a walk when it all goes quiet, when there's no one about, because that is just a really bizarre experience in itself. Pump up the music and then feel grateful. This is the key part. Feel grateful for all the things in your life that you're grateful for. And just walk, just move gently, feel gratitude, listen to some inspiring music, and just see what happens, right? Just experiment. See if you have a similar experience, because I think there's like stuff coming together at the moment on a different level that sometimes is a gateway into something bigger, right? And for me, that was the combination of things. It was the lyrics, it was the movement, it was the music, it was the eerie situation, I think, that we're in, and it was that sense of gratitude. As I was walking, I was feeling grateful for all the things that I'm lucky enough to have in my life, and it just kick-started. I think I broke the internet again, didn't I? It looks like the Instagram's just come back. I don't know why I did that. So I'm just going to repeat what I said, because you didn't miss much. Don't worry, it was more me trying to figure out why you weren't on. So here's what I'd like you to do. Well, you don't have to do this at all. I'm just making this a suggestion. Tonight, when it's really quiet, go for a walk, put on some really powerful music that's powerful to you lyrically or from the beat or the tone or whatever it is for you, and then walk slowly and feel grateful. Just feel grateful for everything that's in your life at the moment. And I know there might be a lot of things going wrong, but feel grateful for all of the things that you have in your life, and just see what happens. It's weird at the moment. I think it's the combination of the fact that it's so strange to be outside and have no cars and no people, plus powerful music, plus movement, plus gratitude. It seems to come together. I think that's the combination of the elements that creates something. And just have a little play around with it, see what happens. And either way, you'll have a nice walk, right? So you've got nothing to lose. And then let me know, share your experience. Cool.